Definitely try Mothership if you're looking to check out a TTRPG that's not D&D. Super fast character generation. Like, I'm talking about like 5 minutes.
Nice.
5-minute character creation, putting us out of business.
Yeah. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Emilio. That's my friend Christian. We build characters for role-playing games based on all sorts of different and generally random prompts and parameters. If you've been enjoying our show, please like, and if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. And now, let's roll characters. Today, as you can tell, we are super excited to have Kevin Whitlock rolling with us. Kevin, welcome to Let's Roll Characters. Kevin is a 20-year veteran dungeon master, 20 years, and a technical support expert. And besides homebrewing for a D&D campaign that is now in its 6th year and that we're going to roll a character for today, Kevin has written content for Tuesday Night Games and their excellent sci-fi horror RPG Mothership. Kevin is also a speculative fiction writer and recently published his first paid story, House Call, on Beyond the Weird.
We're going to be rolling for ancestry, culture, class, background, and gender, but we are going to be rolling a character who is specifically going to be in Kevin's homebrew campaign setting. So Kevin, could you tell us a little bit about this setting that we're going to be making a character for?
Yeah, I'd love to. Now, the world itself is a Discworld. And the story around this Discworld is basically that it was part of a larger kind of normal planet. There was an invasion of these horrible creatures called the Grimm. A segment of survivors basically got onto this particular area of terrain and used magic to basically lift this chunk of terrain up off of this planet, which is called Iodon. And now the Discworld kind of sits in orbit around it. I really like the idea of kind of having a limited scope in the campaign world.
Right.
So Artaea, I designed it to be pretty small and pretty accessible. Most of the conflict in the world comes from the outside. So because of all the magic that was involved in Artaea's creation, it kind of has a lot of really powerful things kind of hanging around on the world. And those are the things that generate the conflict in my campaigns. My brother's character, this cleric named Adark, had kind of made this deal with the devil, where the devil had kidnapped Adark's brother. And Adark wanted to free her brother from this devil, whose name is Kavalatetter. She basically let the Kavalatetter's horde into Artaea in exchange for her brother's freedom. And as a result of that, Kavalatetter burned Tamaria to the ground. So here I am trying to run this campaign where it's like, oh, we've got this, we're going to like save the world and stuff like that. And it was like the exact opposite happened.
And Kevin, the name of this setting is Artaea with a T like tango.
So it's Artaea. I actually have a wiki on my website.
Oh, how
that
fun!
has
Nice.
all the details on it. Yeah.
We're going to be rolling an Artaean here, and the first thing that we need to do is figure out this Artaean's ancestry. So could you please roll us a D10 for ancestry?
4.
A gnome. D10 for culture, please.
4 again.
Gnome ancestry and gnome culture. A D12 for class, Kevin.
Wow. You want to guess?
It's a 4? Is it a 4?
It's a 4, I swear to God.
Ah! This will actually be our first druid that we've rolled, I believe.
Ooh.
A D20 for background, Kevin.
The 7.
Guild artisan.
It's a guild artisan.
Guild artisan. Okay, please roll us a D4 for gender, Kevin.
All right, now, am I allowed to veto this if I get something lame like male?
You know what? You get the guest roller veto, baby.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I rolled a 2.
That's a female.
Okay.
Female.
Any initial thoughts on our gnome-gnome druid guild artisan?
I kind of like the guild artisan angle, especially with the druid thing. Because I'm seeing some kind of like druid related crafting going on there, like maybe some kind of like figurines or maybe like some kind of like interesting like staff work or something like that.
Being a woodcarver might be like a hobby, but if they're part of a guild, they might actually be a professional at this, right? That they might be selling these carvings in some capacity, or maybe they're, using their druidic powers to infuse them with some kind of magic.
Ooh.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen that movie? What is it? It's an anime. Princess Mononoke. And I go in the
sure.
forest, and there's all those like little fairy things with like the rattling
Yeah.
heads.
Uh-huh.
So like, I'm kind of thinking like maybe she like animates these things. Maybe she makes like little figurines of like forest creatures, but then animates them and just like sets them loose in the forest.
I love that. So are we saying then that she is a maker who does not necessarily sell her wares, but instead sort of uses them to come to life or to inhabit a forest?
Could be like maybe, little forest guardians. Maybe they carry the news or messages. Maybe they like watch over sensitive parts of the forest. They're small, maybe they're not very durable. Like maybe, the magic in them or something. Like they'll run off and they'll do their job for a few weeks and then they become part of the forest again. Like maybe the wood lays down the roots again and then,
Oh, yeah.
That is so cool. Okay, let me ask you this, guys. Now, was she a guild artisan who, through some series of events, became a druid and used her sort of artistic powers toward this end that we're describing? Or is the sort of artisan piece built into, her druid story and they were sort of happening at the same time? There's a part of me that really wants to figure out this story of like, okay, she was an artisan first for a guild, but then something happened and she became a druid and had this pull toward defending the forest. So I'm getting pulled in that direction.
I'm leaning towards the crafting came first.
Okay, great.
So I think like maybe she started off doing this like very young. Maybe she had a parent or a sibling who was kind of into this just as like a hobby. She got into it. It became maybe a little bit more personal. And then maybe through that, like, I don't know, maybe she was like looking for a good piece of wood or something like that. And that's how she encountered the druids, who were sort of like, hey, like, maybe don't rob these, like, don't cut these like trees or whatever. But then they were like, oh, hey, you obviously love the forest. Come and join our druid culture.
And keeping in mind that she's from a gnome culture, which is a culture of makers often.
Right.
I don't know if that's the case in Artaea.
In Artaea, there's this little town called Bowen. It's just a little like farming community. And near it, there's this wood, Tanner's Wood, where there's a reasonably large number of like halflings and gnomes who live in this forest. So I'm thinking that either she was somebody who lived either directly in the woods or maybe in the town of Bowen, just on the outside. But certainly she could have been from that region, and the Tanner's Wood is a perfect place to kind of run into like a druidic society.
Is there a potential that her sort of initial work might, I think you were touching upon this, might have been sort of exploitative, and then she was discovered by these druids and they were like, hey, you're hurting our home and hurting the Tanner's Wood, and but you've got real skill here, why don't you come and join us and we're going to show you how to put that to good use type thing?
Maybe she's telling people like, hey, these statues have power. So maybe she starts off with this like superstitious racket, but then the druids come along and they're like, hey, well, we think what you're doing is neat, but you should lose this like superstition, like exploitation angle, and actually come and work with us and use your crafting skills to make something that's going to benefit the forest and the community in a real way.
Is there some threat to the Tanner's Wood where the druids identify her particular ability to sculpt or carve as being valuable enough to bring her in so that she can create these guardians, protectors against some threat?
Do you remember how I said that there was an army of devils?
Yes.
That invaded the area? What I'm actually realizing here is that the Tanner's Wood has been burned to the ground.
Oh no!
Oh no!
But we can kind of squeeze something in there where maybe, her work building up, her craftsmanship work with this guild actually had some kind of magical effect that would have maybe prevented the devils from entering that area.
Her pieces, her art, maybe it was, maybe it's the level of detail that she was able to put into it that made it so powerful, because the druids could really focus their magic and energy on something that already was so lifelike.
And her work was so good that they had to bring her into the fold so that they could really just, access her whenever needed, basically.
Yeah, like, okay, so let's say that the druids had this idea of how to protect the forest, but didn't have the means because they were missing that craftsman. So maybe they have like some ancient scrolls or something like that, or some kind of like ancient knowledge. They were like, hey, like we need to make, this particular thing out of wood, but we just don't have somebody who's, they try a few times and they're just not able to get that level of detail
Yes.
that they need to make the magic work. They go into Bowen kind of at the last second, and then she's able to help them make this, ward, whatever it is, that is used to then protect the forest from the encroachment of these devils.
I think we have started to put some really cool ideas down, and now we can get a little more specific and figure out, hopefully we roll some good dexterity for this character who's a woodcarver.
Yeah, hopefully our scores back up this story that we're developing.
So we're going to be rolling 4d6 and dropping the lowest, and we are going to alternate rolls between the three of us. Each of us are going to get to roll 2 scores, and then whoever has the highest score at the end wins all the points. Kevin, if you would give us a strength roll, please.
My pleasure. 17 for strength.
Whoa!
No way. Whoa!
I think Kevin's already won this one, but all right, here we go. I got a 15. I'm in it.
Wow. Constitution. Okay, not bad. It's a 13.
Okay. Well, you're going to lose, but that's not bad.
Kevin, can you give us an intelligence roll?
Okay, not too bad. We've got a 13.
Wisdom it's a 9.
She isn't running for her spellcasting ability.
That's true.
Exactly,
Actually, this does kind of... Okay, all right, it's supporting our story.
Charisma, a 12. All 4s, by the way. Coming in at third place, Christian with a 24.
Oh, no! My wisdom score.
Yeah, that wisdom really ruined you because I just edged you out with a 25, but it doesn't matter because...
Yes.
Kevin crushing it. 30 points in 2 rolls.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
man, nailed it.
Well done.
All right, so now that we've got some ability scores in place, the next thing that we want to do is figure out just what kind of skill proficiencies our gnome-gnome druid's got. And so for her background as a guild artisan, she's already going to have insight and persuasion so that she's able to, do the deals. And she's going to get 2 more from her druid class. And so we're going to be able to choose from a whole bunch of different skill proficiencies here. We've got Arcana, Animal Handling, Medicine, Nature, Perception, Religion, and Survival. I honestly think that Nature makes sense here. Just even though Wisdom is low on her, this is something that she in particular has sort of developed as a result of her work. Perception, maybe? To be able to understand her surroundings?
Skill. What if the Arcana leans into, the crafting angle? What if she's going to have that Arcana to get, the shapes and stuff like that, right?
And it is intelligence-based, right?
Yeah.
I like that idea, actually. The Arcana is sort of about how she carves and having the knowledge to carve in the way that is conducive to spellcasting.
We have figured out our character background traits. So for our personality trait, we have a couple great options. The first is, I believe that anything worth doing is worth doing right. I'm a perfectionist. This really ties into this character's ability to create these incredible sculptures, these carvings, and it's an art that they've really worked at over time and really gotten good at. The second personality trait is, I don't part with my money easily and will haggle tirelessly to get the best deal. So if you recall, when we first started conceptualizing this character, we were talking about how they were actually swindling people in town, kind of pretending that these carvings that they created had some sort of magical properties. Even if that's something that they've now left behind, that's still part of their background, and so they still are very aware of their money.
And then for the ideal, we're really bringing some tension to this character, actually specific to that point of previously being something of a swindler. And so her ideal is generosity. My talents were given to me so that I could use them to benefit the world. So we really do sort of have this character who is complex. She starts off in this particular background and sort of what she's doing, but then she transitions. She does a 180 in a lot of ways to becoming sort of like a do-gooder. And then the bond is, I owe my guild a great debt for forging me into the person I am today. And so she really did learn a lot, and it's really brought her into various sort of directions in her life. So, of course, she has gratitude toward her guild.
So our foil that we've chosen is, I'm quick to assume that someone is trying to cheat. So we've got a bit of projection going on here. The character remembers kind of their own sort of attitude towards other people as being, maybe marks or like opportunities to earn money. And so they've kind of taken that, and it's kind of, although they themselves have maybe moved on a little bit from that lifestyle, they still have this wariness about them, about people who might want to basically take advantage of them. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of an opportunity for the player to have an angle where they can show a little bit of paranoia that comes from their lifestyle.
Gentlemen, we are moving along here, and now all we need to do is figure out what our gnome druid guild artisan's name is. What's a good Artaean name?
So his first name, I'd probably do something like Orlesa.
Ooh. How about for last name?
I was going to go straight for like Orlesa Bowen Fraud, but I'm not sure that might be a little bit too much. Just grab like the town and just like her like fraudulent background, jam them together.
No, she's got to be a good character. I don't want fraud in her name.
It's a little dark.
Orlesa Bowen.
I mean, it could be like Bowen staff or like something like related to wood in some way.
Bowen tree, Bowen alder.
Well, there's a Tanner's wood as well.
Tanner's
right?
Wood, yeah.
Oh, I got it. Orlesa Tannersward.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Well done. Orlesa Tannersward.
Christian and Kevin, I think we have it. Kevin, could you tell us about Orlesa Tannersward?
My pleasure. So, Orlesa is formerly a bit of a swindler. Started off her life in the town of Bowen. And in Bowen, she spent her time carving these kind of ornate statuettes, which she would sell to townspeople and travelers to try to make money for herself. And when she did this, she would kind of always put this sort of spin on her sales, saying that, these items that she's crafting have like a magical power to them, for protection, or maybe that they gave contact to a particular deity, that kind of thing. When really they were just mundane, kind of wooden items. Now that said, although her items were not magical and she was selling them as such, she had a real talent of making these really ornate and finely detailed sculptures. She's really kind of a genius in terms of her ability to make these things. When Kavalatetter's devil army came south out of the Blackwood to attack Tamaria, the druids of the Tannerswood needed to create a ward to protect the forest from these devils that were coming south. But the druids didn't have the technical ability to kind of carve the wooden wards that they needed to protect the forest. So when they heard about the capability of Orlesa, they went to her and enticed her to kind of join the Druids Guild. Mm-hmm. So she was able to. So she joined them to try to protect the forest. Although she was, maybe a little bit skeptical at first, she joined them, and she was able to help them make the words that they need in order to protect the Tannerswood from Kavalatetter's advance.
Yeah,
yes.
Well done.
Yeah. Christian, do we have our character?
Yeah, we do, and now so do all of you. If you would like to play Orlesa Tannersward in your game, then you can click on the link below for the PDF.
First of all, thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us today. This is great.
Been a privilege. This is actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, awesome. Yes, that's what we love to hear. We really that's why we do this. I mean, if you've enjoyed Let's Roll Characters as much as we have, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and leave us a comment. Let us know what you think of Orlesa. Let us know how you're enjoying the show, and let us know especially the kinds of characters that you'd like to see us bring to life in future episodes.
Yes, and thank you for watching.
Now go play some RPGs.
Hey!
Boom, 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 characters.
So you're creating like basically a DMing like rap battle on me, is what you're saying.
Yes.
That's it.
Where's my snare? Where's my snare?
We could never get a really. Oh, you want some more snare on that?
Yeah.
There it is. Oh. Oh.
I'm actually really good at beatboxing, but we're here for D&D, so I'm not going to blow your minds too much with that right now.